Salut tout le monde, content de vous retrouver aujourd'hui. Aujourd'hui, j'ai une invitée vraiment extraordinaire, talentueuse, versatile. C'est la grande Emily Kinney qui est avec nous aujourd'hui. Hello, Emily.
Hi, how are you?
Fine, and you?
I'm good.
Good, good.
Here.
I will start with the question: how the pandemic is going on your side? Are you okay? Is everything fine?
Yeah, like everyone, I've been spending a lot of time just at home the last couple of years, but I've been lucky enough to actually not really get sick or anything like that. Many friends have, and my little sister, my family members have gotten sick, but I've been kind of lucky to be able to just kind of stay in my house. And I have a few friends that live close to me, so see some friends and just kind of stay home. And I know we were talking earlier about it is so lucky that now we have Zoom and social media, so I've been able to sort of do little things here and there, like this convention this weekend, or now auditions can be on Zoom, or self tapes, or even doing music. I've done like writing sessions on Zoom. So it's kind of amazing how many things you really can just do at your house, so
Yes.
I've been so there have been some some positive things to come out of it for me, just in terms of like writing. But obviously, I'm excited for COVID to be over.
Yeah, we all want it to be over. And in one side, we have we are very lucky to have you because of Zoom. But on the other hand, all the conventions with people, with real people, do you miss that proximity?
Yeah, I do. I miss meeting fans in person and giving them a hug, and all of you get more of an exchange of energy
Yeah.
rather than just Zoom. Also, even just getting to see my old castmates, because a lot of us go to these conventions, and it's a chance for me to reconnect with some of the people I worked on, The Walking Dead or Arrow, or so. And also, I do love traveling. I like going to different countries, and it's nice to be home. There's good benefits to that, but it's also really exciting to see new places. So
Yeah.
so yeah, like good and bad, but I really miss meeting fans in person, and just
Have you ever been here in Canada?
I have been to Canada. I've done some filming in Canada. I'm trying to think. I've maybe done like one convention. Um
Probably in Toronto.
yeah, I think in Toronto. So
Uh-huh.
but I did a lot of filming in Toronto for this show Conviction that was on ABC. And then
Okay.
in Vancouver, of course, I've done a lot of filming.
Yeah.
There's a lot of, you know, shows that film in Vancouver.
Mm-hmm. But
Mhm.
you never been here in Quebec.
Oh, I've been to Quebec once.
Really? Oh.
Yes.
Oh.
Quite a long time ago though. So yeah.
Oh, nice. Nice.
Yeah.
Uh,
I'd love to come
one,
back. It was
yeah,
beautiful.
one day you can come back in the shall we con in person. Yeah.
Yes, that would be so fun.
Yeah. Nino, take notes. Uh,
Yes.
so I will ask you the first question. You began your career working on stage on various plays. What aspect of the stage do you like the most when you're playing characters on stage?
Yeah. Well, I'm someone who really loves like getting to see the whole story through, from beginning to end. And I also
Mhm.
am someone who really works well in environments that are familiar to me. So that's one reason I love TV, because again, like you're doing the same show, even though the character changes, you're with kind of the same crew, you're with the same cast, you get used to how they're going to shoot everything. And in a similar way in theater, obviously, you go to the same theater every night. You have your routine. You have your same castmates. And in that way, I just feel like the show gets better and better and better and better. You're really able um, to really fix every single little moment. So I find that really satisfying if you're someone who just likes to really shape the performance. So that's really fun. I also really love yeah, and just the routine of like being at the theater at 7:30, doing the show at 8, afterwards, walking home or getting dinner or whatever, like it's a late night, but I really enjoy that routine, where TV and movies are exciting, but also like, you don't know if you're going to shoot in the middle of the night. The next day might be an early morning. Like there's no routine.
Uh-huh.
And I also, of course, love the live audience. I
The
love.
reaction.
Yes, I love like getting those laughs or at certain moments, or it becomes very interactive.
Yeah.
And I really love that.
Do you find it difficult to be to stay in the character during 1 or 2 hours? When you're filming, you can break up the character, but in a play, you have to be in the character during
Yeah.
1 or 2 hours. Do you find it difficult?
Yeah, I actually find it easier to do theater where you have to just stay in the zone, and kind of everyone is focused on what's going on stage. Where in TV, we have breaks, so we eat lunch, you talk about your weekend, and I find mentally that to get a little distracting. Although sometimes it is nice if you have an intense scene to have the
Yeah.
break. So, kind of depends on what kind of show it is. But overall, I do kind of like the really staying in it for the couple hours and then getting a break, as opposed to like, sometimes with shooting, you'll shoot even just half of the scene and then you take a break and then
Yeah.
change the lights, or so you have to get really good at being able to really focus.
Yeah. That's why some actors are really they call them method actor. They stay in the character all the time, and they won't talk to the others. So that will be difficult to have a colleague like this.
Yeah, I guess it depends. Like I said, it kind of depends. Sometimes you need a break mentally. You need to kind of like take a break
Laugh.
and have lunch and laugh and say, "What'd you do this weekend?" I think everyone can relate to that in any kind of job. You need like little breaks. But
Yeah.
sometimes it's easier to just like stay in the zone. So everyone's kind of different, I guess, and also each character is very different.
Yeah.
So you have to kind of be honest with yourself about like, what do I need for this character? Do I need breaks, or do I need to like just stay in it all day long?
Yeah. Speaking of character, I think your first role was on screen, was in Showtime's The Big C. Is that right?
That was, well, I had done some other things like, Law and Order, like guest stars, but The Big C, I actually had like a little bit of an arc. I was
Yeah.
yeah.
So how did you get the part from the stage to the TV screen?
Yeah, well, I was just so I lived in New York, so I was doing a lot of theater, but I was also auditioning for television right alongside working on theater. So, yeah, I think the Big C was cast by Bernie Telsey, which actually, there's different casting directors, and they'll cast theater and TV, and they cast both theater and television. So I had been in their office for auditions quite a bit when I got the Big C. But yeah, I was just kind of like you go on quite a lot of auditions, just to get one job. So that was just one that I went in, and I think I only did one audition and got it. So it's fun.
Nice.
Yeah.
That was your first big break on TV with an arc.
Yeah, with more of an arc. I did
Yeah.
get to do a couple guest stars on Law and Order, which I do think prepared me, quite a bit.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So eventually in 2011, you were cast as Beth Green on The Walking Dead. Did you know did you know the comic books? Did you know the Walking Dead universe?
A little. I had a couple friends that were very into the graphic novels,
Okay.
the comic books, and so I did know of The Walking Dead. I actually hadn't really watched it before I auditioned for it. But
Okay.
then after my first audition, I loved the scenes. Like I thought they were so well written. And I remember after my audition going into a Barnes and Noble and like a bookstore and finding finding the comic books and kind of reading through them, because I was like, oh, I really liked this audition. I really liked these scenes and these characters, and like this sounds really cool. So I remember sort of doing my own research in between auditions, and yeah.
This is my next question. Your character Beth was not in the source material.
No.
You had to build up to build her up. So how much Beth is connected to you?
I think quite a bit. I feel like, especially as the series went on, the writers got to know me and actually really got to know some of my strengths. So I feel like Beth is definitely different from me, Emily, but there's definitely things where we are very similar. Um, just even in her caretaking sort of
Yeah.
personality, and then of course her singing and music that she loves.
Did you put this into the character? Did you
Yeah,
decided to put the music in the character?
yeah. Well, it was actually one of the writers and one of the showrunners at one point, Glenn Mazzara. He was the one who called me and said, "Hey, I was thinking, Beth might be singing in this episode in season."
Wow.
It was the first episode in season 3, and then that became, and they all knew that I, between seasons, some of the writers had seen me do a show in New York City, like with my original music. So they knew that I was really into music and sang and wrote songs. And so then that kind of slowly became this part of Beth, her singing and singing like these Tom Waits songs and singing, having kind of this interesting musical taste that is very close to my own.
Yes.
And Scott Gimple, one of the showrunners, he also had I feel like we both had such a interest in music and a certain kind of music. And so he really helped shape, I feel like, Beth's musical taste as well.
Yes, and you contributed to the Walking Dead soundtrack as well, with Lauren too.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And yeah, you there, but there's one scene where you're in the piano playing "Be Good," and it's very moving, and it's your song. So how did it happen? Is it the Scott Gimple that suggests you to incorporate one of your song?
Yeah, that was actually my idea, but we had been going back and forth. We knew we wanted Beth to be singing a song at the piano. So we tried out different ones. He would often send me a text and be like, "Oh, what about this song? What about that song?" And we'd go back and forth, and I'd say, "What about this song?" And I had said to him, I would love this singer, Waxahachie, Katie Crutchfield, and she wrote "Be Good." And I said, "What if I did this as like a piano?" Because her version is much more kind of like dirty guitar and and I was like, "What if Beth sang this like a sweet piano version?"
Mm-hmm.
And so then I actually ended up covering it as well, so you can find it on like my albums. But yeah, so that was me and him texting back and forth is how that came about.
You must be very proud to have this kind of persona of Beth with you, the musical side. You must be very, very proud to be as close as her with this side.
Yeah, it really. Yeah, I'm so happy that she had that in her. I just imagined Beth as this very like artistic person. Like even when you look in the show in the prison, her little room is very decorated. She has pictures up and she's always like writing in her journal. And I just imagined Beth as being this very like creative, artistic person. And I really liked that about her because I did feel like it was a part of us that overlapped. And it was also cool because since I make music outside of the show, a lot of the Walking Dead fans, they saw Beth sing, and so then it was like, oh, let me see Emily's other music, and so it also led a lot of fans to my music, which of course I'm very happy about because you want to be able to share what you're working on.
Yeah, it did a kind of a bridge between the Beth and you on stage.
Yes, yeah. So that's really cool.
Yeah. Speaking of scenes with emotions, in the 10th episode of season 2, Beth wants to commit suicide because of her mother being put down after attacking her. Was it difficult for you to do those kinds of emotional scenes with deep subjects like that?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's actually one of my strengths as an actor is some of those diving into some more of the emotional scenes. Like I actually feel well prepared for those somehow. I don't know if it's just, I yeah, I just really enjoy sort of like exploring that side of my brain and that side of
Mm-hmm.
myself. But that was difficult just because I was still early on in my kind of journey getting to know Beth. So, like, I always think those emotional scenes are really difficult in the beginning, but then as you're working on a character for years, like going to those emotional places with Beth in season 5 were definitely much easier than season 2. So that particular like suicide and working with like very heavy topics like that, um, I find interesting and I do enjoy, but they are difficult in the moment. I have
Yeah.
to do a lot of preparation. I have to really focus that day and think about how I want to do it. And but then as the series kept going, those emotional moments just happened a lot naturally for me because you just sort of are already embedded in the world in a different way. So I think your brain kind of um, can sort of take on those moments a little easier because it's been so much a part of your world. So yeah.
Do you have a special preparation? Do you step back? Do you listen to sad music, something like that?
I do find that music is really helpful. So a lot of times with different characters, I'll make kind of a set playlist, of things that I want to be listening to while preparing. Because there are a lot of times on set where you're just waiting around.
Mm-hmm.
They're setting up the lights, they're setting up the shot, but you have to be like ready to go as soon as the camera is ready to go. So I find that that helps. And then also just kind of like staying in the moment. Like if I have a really heavy scene or a very important scene, I find just being really present, not
Mm-hmm.
thinking ahead, um, spending a lot of time in the space. Like a lot of times, I remember like for season 2, I just would like stay in it. So in between takes or in between scenes, maybe I would just like stay in that bed and just kind of like try to stay in the world. Um, and that was really helpful. I also find that whoever's directing it really kind of helps me. So I was really lucky a lot of times to have just really great directors on Walking Dead that let me take my time because sometimes I go like, okay, I'm just gonna need like a second to myself, or
Yeah.
but some directors are a little more like, nope, we gotta go do it now. So I was really lucky to have directors on Walking Dead that all would be very supportive and yeah.
That was my next question. During the 4 seasons you were on the show, you have worked with many different directors,
Mm.
but one of them is Greg Nicotero.
Yes.
He directed a lot of episodes. Greg is known for he's a great special effects artist.
Mm-hmm.
He was doing this at first in his career, but how is he as a director?
Oh my God.
I'm very curious about this.
You know what is cool about Greg is he has this energy that just doesn't seem to, he doesn't seem, even if he's tired, a lot of times these are long days on set. So even if he's tired, he still has this sort of emotional energy. And I think, and he gets really excited about a cool shot, or he gets really excited about a special moment and he's someone who can really just enjoy the one small present moment and not get too bogged down with like the overall, it seems to me. And so, or that's what I got from him as an actor, was he just gets really excited about, ooh, a cool shot, or like, ooh, this little look you're gonna give to someone. And I found I really appreciated that. I also just think his energy is something that everyone can like feed off of. like I feel like sometimes I can be a little more, especially if the scene is a sad one or a heavy one, then sometimes I take that on and maybe my energy's a little lower. And having him to counteract that is so helpful. So because even if a scene is sad, it still has to have like movement. It has to have like energy. And you
Yeah.
need someone who knows how to stay true to the present moment, but give it this like fun energy, which I think is important.
Do you think this special attention to small details came from his background from the special effects? All the
Yeah.
little details must work.
Yeah, I mean, now that you say that, I think probably, and when you think about special effects, you are just focusing in on like that one, like if your job is special effects, you're like focusing in on
One
that one
moment.
zombie kill or that
Yep.
one moment where you see the eyes or that so I feel like yeah, he just enjoys each and every moment, which I think is important, um, for sure.
Yeah. Another director is Ernest Dickerson, I think.
Yes.
Is he different from Greg?
Yes, he's different, but all these directors are that we've had on Walking Dead. I've really liked all of them. I mean, all of them were so special and so good. But Ernest to me is especially special. He directed that suicide one that you were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
He directed a lot of the episodes where I had to do a lot of heavy emotional things. So like but he's a different, he has a very I don't know how to like presence that where you feel very safe. So
Okay.
it's a different than Greg has this sort of like extra energy, and Ernest feels very safe, and I think that's why I was able to do a lot of these emotional scenes. He really just lets you do what you need to do to be ready for them. He really is a good listener and watcher, and I really trust him. And I think when you have to do something with that where you have to be very vulnerable, you want to feel like safe, and he's like this amazing safe environment, cozy feeling. Ernest is
Mhm.
probably one of my favorite directors ever that I've ever worked with. He's just the most incredible.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
But in a series like Walking Dead, there's a lot of directors, different directors.
Yeah.
Is it very difficult for you as an actress to adapt to each one? They all have those special way to direct. So is it difficult for an actress to adapt?
You know what? No, because I think that like even though they're all different, I do feel like it's a lot of the same directors. Like they do kind of, so a lot of them do really know the vibe of the set, and there's enough people that are the same, like so even if the director is different each time, we will have the same, DP, we have the same producers on set, we have the other actors, so everyone's obviously there's lots of new actors too, but we have a lot of the same people. So although it's a different director, there's enough that's the same that having the new director, I think, just kind of adds some extra like new ideas, new life in each. So I really welcome the change. And I think by the time, you know, when a show's been on for so long, you do, or when you've been working on a show for so long, you kind of know what you need. So even if a director has a different idea, like you can do what you need to do. You know when you need to sort of like say something or not, I guess.
Yeah. Okay. And you have the chance because your character was promoted to be a series regular on season 4.
Mm-hmm.
Did you expected that to happen, or was it a surprise? Or
I didn't really. I did actually expect that to happen by the time it was
okay,
season 4. Yeah, it wasn't a surprise, but I was very happy about it, and I loved being a part of the show. So having that extra level of like commitment to the show was something I really welcomed and really wanted, and I knew that meant like, oh, I'm gonna get to do more, and I love acting, so I want to do more. So I I love it. I loved being a series regular. I mean, I felt like a part of the family anyway, but it felt like, okay, now even more. Now I am like, it's on
It's a
paper. Like
it's
I'm
official
here.
now.
Yeah, like I'm here, and this is where I'm supposed to be. This is my job, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
So it felt good.
But your character was one of the most beloved character of the series among the fans.
Oh,
Um, yes, yes. There's a lot of messages coming from, and yes, that's you're very Bet is very loved. Yes.
oh, thank you. Yeah.
And speaking of love, okay, Bet has had a close relationship with Daryl. Um, do you think that relationship between Daryl and Bet was romantic or more brother sisterly connection?
I get this question really often.
Okay.
I think it was just, yeah, I want to say ultimately more of a brother sister sort of thing. But I think it was just two people really getting to know each other. So I think it was sort of up in the air. I mean, I think not every relationship do you get an answer of. I think it's just they were two people like getting to know each other. And unfortunately, before we could see what kind of relationship it was, I was taken away, by the car and then gone to the hospital and then died. So we
Yeah.
don't. So I feel like that's kind of the fun in the relationship is you don't know. You just know that it's two people who really didn't like each other and who didn't know each other well,
Mm-hmm.
and you get to see them learn about each other and become a team and become more fond of each other and bond. And I think that that's really special.
Yeah. And did you have a special connection with Norman Reedus, who was playing Daryl?
Yeah, I mean, anybody that I worked with on that show, I felt like we became such good friends and coworkers. You're filming that show in Atlanta, and at the time, a lot of us lived other places. Like I live in LA now, but at the time, I lived in New York, and so you're kind of just all there together, and those are your friends, your coworkers. So we all created a really special bond. So yeah, definitely. And I feel like Norman with his art, and I related to that and some of our like musical tastes. We definitely bonded.
And what about Lauren, your sister? Did you develop a friendship on the set?
Yeah, for sure. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, Lauren was one of my favorite people to do scenes with. I just felt like we had a really beautiful, like creative, artistic connection that was indescribable. Um, so I wish we could work together again someday. I also just feel like yeah, we just became close during the filming of the show, and it was a really special time. I'm so happy I had that time to get to know her so well.
And when your character died on the season 5, did you have to have some grief because she was you have to say goodbye to your character?
Yeah. I mean, it
Yeah.
was, I'd never had a job that long. I think most actors can agree that most jobs last a few months, or, if you're on a series, maybe a couple of years, but I had never had a job that was four seasons. And it had changed my life quite a bit,
Yeah.
So I was very sad to leave. But ultimately, when I look back, I see that it was a very good time for me to go, and change. So,
Hmm.
um, but yeah, at the time I was sad.
And with your character being left out of the series, did you watch the show on the seasons after?
Yeah, I watched, not as religiously. Like I didn't watch every single Sunday like some people, but
Mhm.
I kind of like to just like check in, And it's funny
Yeah.
because even if I don't know exactly what's going on, I like to just kind of like check in and see what the new characters are, like see what, Lauren's up to. Like I've been watching more of season 11, and it's been kind of fun to see how the characters have changed and stuff. But I'm not staying on top of it, I'm
Okay.
kind of like once in a while checking in kind of thing.
Is there a character you said, oh my god, I wish I was able to confront him like Negan or someone like that?
Yeah, I don't know. Everyone asks me about Negan, and I just feel like he's so scary. I'm kind of glad that Beth got out of.
Yes, he is.
So I don't know. I feel okay. It's hard for me to imagine. I feel like I got out at the right time.
Okay.
As far as I didn't want to leave, but I feel like ultimately now you know,
Your arc was done for your character.
yeah, yeah.
Uh-huh.
So,
And your acting was praised by many critics at the end of the fifth season. You even got a Saturn Award nomination for Best Supporting Actress. Do you think your acting evolved with Beth's involvement in the series?
definitely. I mean, I think I learned one of the luckiest things about that show was the fact that I got to work with so many other great actors like Andrew Lincoln, Sarah Wayne Callies, Norman, um, Lauren. I feel like working with these people. Melissa McBride is someone who she used to actually help me with my auditions. Like if I had an audition for a movie, she
Oh,
would tape me, and she had experience as a casting director, so she was just very good at that stuff.
it's
And
weird.
yeah, so like having that time with people that were so, so good at what they do, it like I still go back to certain things that they've said to me when I'm working on new projects. And I think it like prepared me for things like doing the series on ABC or doing Masters of Sex or these other shows, like having my experience on Walking Dead prepared me for how I want to approach characters in the future. So I got good training, you know.
Yes, you went at a very good school, Walking Dead
Yes.
school.
Yeah. It's a very good acting school, I feel like. Not all
Uh-huh.
sets are like that. Some sets, we don't you don't have rehearsals and things. On Walking Dead, we would have rehearsals, we would practice with each other. So it's just very good training.
Very good.
Yeah.
Um, you also played Brie Larvin, the bug-eyed bandit in the Flash and the Arrow.
Yes.
This was a female version of Bertram Larvan of DC Comics.
Hmm.
Are you happy with this trend of gender changes in superheroes universe?
Yeah, I think it's cool. I mean, it's fun to reimagine what is in the comic book. I think that's one thing that's cool about Walking Dead too, or any of these where like, you don't just want to read exactly what you read in the comic book. It's if you're going to put it on TV or movies, you want to not know exactly what's going to happen, or you want to see the characters a little different, just to like change it up, or maybe some people want it to be exactly the same as what they read. But I think having things just slightly different kind of infuses new life, and it allows the new thing, whether it's a new TV show or a new movie, it allows it to be like its own special thing, separate from
Mhm.
the source material.
Obviously, you had a lot of fun playing this character. Is am I right?
Oh yeah, I mean, all of those shows are so fun, and there's lots of special effects, and like talking to animatronic bees, and it's always really fun too to play the villain. I think like
Yeah.
I feel like I often get like people want to see me as like the sweet innocent one, so which is wonderful. But it's quite fun to play the villain.
It's pretty good because you're not typecast as the gentle lady, and you can play badass girls too.
Yeah, maybe I'm hoping for more of those in the future.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Um, do you have in mind? Do you have in mind one day go working behind the camera as a writer, as a director?
Oh my gosh, what a good question. I love writing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I love acting so much, so I sort of feel like I'm a lifer. Like I tell people, like I feel like I'm gonna be acting till I'm like 80. I'm gonna be playing all the like grandma roles or something. Like that's my dream. But however, I do love writing music, and therefore I've been writing a lot of scripts as well. So if I were to do something behind the camera, I think it would probably be as a writer
Mm-hmm.
or like show creator, that kind of thing. So
Yeah.
So yeah, wish me luck. Maybe that will work out for me.
I hope so.
Yes.
And as an actress, who is your inspiration in the business?
Oh my gosh, I have so many. It's hard to
Yeah.
pick one. Yeah, I mean, I love so many actors. When I was a kid, I really loved Leonardo Dicaprio. When he was in like Basketball Diaries, or I don't know if you remember on Growing Pains.
Mm-hmm.
So when I was a kid, I remember seeing him as a kid actor, and I thought like, ooh, that's special. I want to be like that. Like I want to. He's always been really an inspiration to me. Um, but I mean, there's so many. Like I love Renee Zellweger, Michelle Monaghan. I got to work with in Messiah. She's great. I like. I mean, there's just so many really great like actresses and actors that I really love.
Oh, that's
I
pretty cool.
really love Gugu Mbatha-Rayi, who was in Morning Show.
Oh
You know,
yeah. Mm-hmm.
yeah, she's one of my like favorite actresses right now.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah, I'm always being inspired by. It's hard for me to pick just one, but as a kid, like I was like, oh, Leonardo DiCaprio.
Leo.
Yeah, he was like, I was like, I have to. Yeah, I had and Claire Danes. Oh, Claire Danes in My So-Called Life. I had like posters. On my
So
wall.
probably you were on cloud nine when you saw Leo and Claire Danes together in Romeo and Juliet.
Oh yes, yes. I had that poster, where he's looking through the fishbowl at her on my wall, and so those were two of my favorites as a kid for sure.
Ah, nice.
Yeah.
Is there a dream role you want to play in your career? A character, a role?
Yeah, you know what? I've always had this idea. So I did this play called August Osage County. Now they made a movie of it, but as
Okay.
a play, I played the 15-year-old pothead. So this was, I was in my 20s, but it was one of my first big parts, and it was a Broadway show in New York. And I've always had this idea. There's a lot of really beautiful, great female roles in it. And I've always had this idea that I want to play all as I get older, all the other females. So there's different aunts at different ages because it's all about three sisters and their corresponding like families, and then the matriarch of the family. Who at the time, the one when I was in it was played by Estelle Parsons, and she played kind of like this crazy eccentric grandma. But so I sort of have had this dream in my mind that as they do revivals of the play, if they ever do them, that I want to play, my mom. I want to play all the different roles and then play the grandma when I'm old.
Oh, that's pretty cool. That's a good idea.
Yeah, so
Uh-huh.
if someone does a revival, you just let me know.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Do you have somebody you absolutely want to work with once in your lifetime? A director, an actor, or someone?
Ooh, that's a good question. I mean, there's no one in particular. I always like working with. I mean, there's no one in particular except for maybe those like dream people, right? Like Claire Danes or Leonardo Dicaprio or something like that. But
Mm-hmm.
but mostly I think about this too with music. Like lots of times people will be like, "Oh, is there anybody you want to collaborate with?" And like ultimately, like I just love making stuff with my friends. So like the goal for me is more to like work with people who are kind and like who make me want to be a better actor. And so I don't really have like a particular, and sometimes those aren't the people that are like the most famous or the most whatever. So like I
Mm-hmm.
don't have like a particular director that I want to work with. It's more like I want to work with people who bring out my best.
Because sometimes when we ask this question, uh, actors will say, "I want to work with Steven Spielberg," or
Yeah.
someone famous as him. So
Yeah.
that's not your case.
No, of course I do. Like, if someone was like, "Do you want to work with Steven Spielberg?" I'd be like, "Yeah, of course I do." But I guess like in my mind, it's not really like a goal. Like my
Okay.
goal is more to like work with people who bring out my best, and sometimes those are really established people, and then sometimes those are just like your good friend.
Uh huh.
So that's more my style.
Yes. Okay. I get it.
Yeah.
um, you played a lot of characters, and what is your taste in the movies? Is it the horror, fantasy, comedy, drama?
I really like when I was a kid. I really liked horror movies, and I still like them when they're fun. When they're too like bloody, like war movie type things, like I don't like that. But
Okay.
but I do like all the Scream movies and stuff. But I also really like really character driven, like slice of life type movies, so or TV shows. So I feel like some people might call them boring or something, but it's like shows like my one of my sort of things that make me want to be an actor or be a writer is showing just kind of like everyday life, but then you put it in a song, you put it on screen, and it becomes elevated, it becomes special. And I really think like our lives on Earth are really like magical and special. We're on a rock, like floating around in space, So like, so I really like just like character driven, like everyday kind of stuff. However, I do like movies about like time travel and like
Oh,
about time. So that's always been kind of like a thing in my head too. Like I always like the idea of like bending time and stuff. So
yeah.
I
You
like all kinds of stuff.
okay? You were
Yeah.
speaking about the kind of slice of life. Have you watched a show like Euphoria, which is very crude and very rough?
Yeah.
Do you what do you
Um.
think about this kind of shows?
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know. It depends. Every show's different. Euphoria, I haven't gotten super into. I've only watched a little of the first season.
Uh-huh.
But I yeah, I like stuff that pushes the envelope and makes you kind of in a different world.
Yeah.
But I also I don't know, my thoughts on different things like um yeah, I don't know. Every show's different. It's not my
Uh-huh.
necessarily like my favorite, but I do like shows that, can
Push
push.
the envelope.
Yeah, yeah. I guess like nudity's not like so much isn't really like unless it actually pushes the story forward. Like I find, and that's something that has kind of, maybe when I was younger, I thought that was pushing the envelope. But now as I've gotten older, I've sort of seen shows where they didn't need so much nudity and you tell the exact story. You in fact, because people have imaginations, it's even more like if you look at a show called Succession, if anyone's watched Succession, that show is about this sort of seedy world, and like this particular family that's not very nice, but there's zero nudity in it, and they don't, and they find a way to tell the story with great acting and great stories
Okay.
and great characters. So that's one of my things with Euphoria, I guess. As it feels a little like extra with the,
Okay. I get
yeah.
it.
So
So you
maybe I'm just getting old, and
oh.
I don't know. I
So
don't know.
you're saying that show like Game of Thrones is not necessary, the nudity is not necessary
Like needed always,
not,
yeah.
yeah. Okay.
I get why some people want to do it to create a certain world, but it's not like
Yeah.
my favorite, to be honest. Yeah.
Yeah. And speaking of TV and movies, what is your all-time movie and TV show?
Oh my gosh. Okay, well, one of my favorite movies, I'm going to say two movies that have been on my mind a lot lately. I love Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
Yeah.
One of my favorite movies. I love it so much. I also really like Labyrinth, so this goes more to my fantasy.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I always loved Labyrinth because I like David Bowie and Jennifer Connelly, and I was just watching some of those scenes the other day, so that's been on my mind. But yeah, so I love
And
those.
it's a musical too. So
The
you like music.
musical, yeah.
Mhm.
So I guess yeah. So those two I really love. And then TV shows. Well, My So-Called Life was one of my favorites as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
I also really liked the new High Fidelity with Zoe Kravitz. If anyone's seen that, I watched that about like 5 times. I watched it over and over again during the pandemic. So it only got
Okay.
one season, but that was one of my favorites. I also really like that show Made on Netflix. If anyone's
Made, yeah.
Made, I loved that one. I feel like I just like cried every episode, so good.
Yes, it's very moving.
Yeah, so
Uh-huh.
those are some of my favorites right now. I've also been I'm trying to think what else. I really liked the new impeachment as well. I thought that was really good.
Okay.
So yeah,
Did you watch Big Little Lies?
I did watch Big Little Lies. I watched both seasons. That one's
Yeah.
really good too.
You know that the director Jean-Marc Vallée was a Quebecer.
Oh, really? I did not know
Uh-huh.
that. That's
Yes.
awesome.
Yeah, he passed away sadly in December.
Yes,
So, uh-huh.
saw that.
So
Yeah.
it was he was a big Quebec um, uh, ambassador.
Yeah.
Yes,
That's awesome.
as well as Denis Villeneuve.
Mm.
Mm-hmm. So, Emily, do you have? Is there any projects in the near future you can talk? You have on the
Um,
shelf.
well, I'm still deciding about what next for acting, but I can tell you I'll have a new album out next year or this year
Oh,
um,
cool!
called Swim Team. And then I also have a book actually of poetry
Wow,
that will also come out later this year. So a couple of cool, I guess, like writing things that I'm pretty excited about.
pretty cool. Do you plan to go on tour when the pandemic will be over?
I think so. I mean, it might be a smaller tour. I think during this pandemic, I've sort of figured out which things like with touring, it can be kind of difficult with like the cancellations and you really it's pretty expensive unless you are a very big operation. So for me, I want to go on tour again, but I definitely want to wait till it feels uh, a bit easier, I guess.
Yes.
So,
Mm-hmm.
so I will tour soon, but maybe not for another year or so.
You must come to Quebec.
I would love that. What's a good place to play there? Is
Oh,
there
Montreal, Quebec. Yeah.
okay?
Mm-hmm.
Is there certain clubs that are good, like music clubs?
Yes,
Yeah.
we have a lot of good music clubs. I think you will enjoy that very much.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm excited to play out again.
Cool. So, one question about that: do you enjoy more acting or doing music?
I like them both for different reasons. I feel like right now I'm really itching to act, so I'm like, I want to say acting, but then I also music is something that is just really fulfilling for me as far as like I like writing the songs and it's something I just do by myself that's really fun and I can do it, on stage and share it with people or also just like at my house by myself play guitar and sing and it's really fun. So
Mm-hmm.
so singing feels a little more like for my, fulfilling, I guess, in like a way that it's like there for me. Or like acting, someone has to kind of pick you for the part and it's more collaborative. So they're kind of different. They fulfill different things, I guess.
Pretty cool.
Yeah.
I think we have some questions from the chat. Nino, est-ce qu'on a des questions des gens sur le Bonjour Nino.
Hi, Emily.
Est-ce
It's
est-ce qu'on
really
a
an honor
des
to
questions?
have you on the show. Thank you, Emily.
It's so
We
nice
have
to
a
be
few
here.
questions. We have a few questions from the chat. There's Mad Max here who he says, "I love your songs, and I was wondering if you are planning to do some concerts in New York and Europe."
Ooh.
Oh wow! I mean, I would love to do some in Europe. It's I don't have anything planned, but like I said earlier, once coronavirus and the pandemic is a little more, I know right now it's going away, but once it's really gone, then maybe I'll start to plan some of those bigger tours. Yeah.
Nice.
Good. Next question. We have a question from Emily that she said, when will you release your poetry book?
Oh, sometime this year. I don't have an actual date yet, unfortunately.
Okay.
We had to switch publishers, so it's going to be a minute. Yeah.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Kawai here, and which movie or series that you've done, but with all you've done and in the film and series, I'm trying to translate there the French question.
Yeah.
Which new role do you want to do? That something that you haven't done before.
Oh yeah. You know what? That's a good question. I mean, there's so many. I feel like there's so many things I haven't played. Like I said, I wouldn't mind doing some more like more of the bad guy character, But I also feel, yeah, I also feel like it'd be wonderful to work on something fun and funny and silly. Like I've done a lot of drama and I enjoy doing that, and that's great too, and I feel like it's something that I'm good at, so I want to do that more. However, I have this idea in my head that it'd be so fun to go to a set and do a half-hour comedy and do something really silly and fun, and because I feel like that's a part of my personality that I don't get to do much with acting wise. I feel like I tend to get parts that are a little more serious, so I think it would be fun to do something funny, like a half-hour comedy or something.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
We have here Dave DeYoung, who his question is how your work as an actress influenced your work as a singer.
How do I work? What, as in? Sorry, say that again. I don't think I quite.
As an actress, how your work as an actress influence your work as a singer?
Oh, okay. I mean, it's definitely influenced in that every time I get a job as an actor, I'm usually going to new places, So for Walking Dead, I lived in New York City, but I went to Atlanta. And every time that you start a new job, you meet a new group of people and you're in a new city, and all of those things become really great inspiration for new songs. So I feel like in that way, even if you listen to my whole, my last 3 records or something, you can kind of hear the different cities, I'll mention Atlanta, I'll mention New York City, I'll mention Times Square, different places. So you can kind of see how the different people and the different places have influenced it. I also think what's cool is as I work on different TV shows, that also introduces different audiences to my music. So that's an example again of Walking Dead or Toronto. When I worked on Conviction, I started playing shows in Atlanta. So Eddie's Attic became a place where a lot of people would come to see my music, and I got to meet those fans. Or in Toronto, I played at Adelaide Hall, and I kind of got to know that music scene. So it's kind of influenced it that way.
Perfect. We have. Yeah. Do you have something to say? Yeah. Let's go.
No, it's okay. I was just saying that it was very interesting.
Yes. Lipit Chef, I have a question, and the question is: do you plan to do an album more rock?
Right now I have my next album is definitely leans more towards an Americana kind of sound. So I don't know if I have really plans for like I don't rock. If you mean by rock, like more of like a rock, harder rock sound, but not really. But my stuff tends to be a little, I guess, lighter than that, lighter vibe. So no, but sorry.
Did you
maybe
take part in
someday.
a musical movie so far? Did you take part?
For the last question is, did you take part of
In a musical
movie
so far?
so far?
Oh, in a musical movie.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. No, but that would be great, right? Because then I get to sing and act. So, fingers crossed.
You must star in
Yeah.
La La Land too.
La La Land 2. Yeah, that would be great.
Why not?
Why not? I'll do it. That sounds fun.
Mm-mm.
So, we'll see.
Yes.
But yeah, maybe someday. What was
Okay,
that
thank
show,
you
Smash? That was, I was like, oh, something like that would be cool. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Emily. Thank you for your time. It was great to have
Emily,
you here
thank
at the
you.
ShowerCon.
Thank you very much. You're very generous. You're very gentle. Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure talking with you.
It's been so nice to be here. I hope you have fun at the rest of the convention.
Thank you so
Thank you.
much, and I hope we will see you here in Quebec in
Yes.
person at one time.
That would be great.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
Thank
see
you.
you guys later.
Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.